Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon.
Morning. Good morning, Stuart.
Yeah. Once again, Simon, I'm agreeing with you again. Unfortunately, what Jesse said, I disagree with, because at the end of the day, like you said, Simon, is the Leeds manager, is under a lot of scrutiny. He's a Premier League manager, and you've got to take the flack that comes your way.
Yeah.
A lot of his anger, though, does stem from, and I'll probably take a bit of a bashing for this from the Leeds fans, but it stems from the Bielsa era, and a lot of people can't move on from that era. He's taken a lot of flack recently because obviously the results have not been great. I know what he did say last night, that the players are with him, and I was at the ground last night and I saw the connection between the players and the fans through the substitutions and the manager, and there was a connection there. The players are playing for him. It was a brilliant performance last night, and the atmosphere was electric. But I think he just needs to stem the comments a little bit. Jesse Marsch has been a bit outspoken in the past as far as things are concerned for Leeds.
Sure. I mean, let me jump in. He's approaching, 12 months in the job now? But that's on the horizon. Has he won you all round, or are you still to be one round?
I'm a bit half and half. I'm still to be one round. I think he's doing the job that he can with the resources that he's got. We have had a few injuries recently, and we're trying to get some new players in, his own players at that. But saying that, the results have not been good enough.
No, and is that not part of the problem? A year on almost, Stuart, and you're still yet to be convinced fully.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Bielsa was a messiah as far as we were concerned in the Leeds fans. And when he went, the results weren't acceptable at that time. But we have to move on. And at the minute, Marsch, he kept us up last year, great. But the results have not been good enough as far as this season's concerned. There's still plenty of time to turn it round, and I think he will do that with the players that are coming in. We're getting players back from injury now. So fingers crossed we can pull through.
Okay, good times ahead. Good times ahead, possibly. Stuart, thanks for that. Here's Marie, who's a big Leeds United fan. Marie, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You're with Simon, Jordan and myself and the listening nation. What do you want to say about Jesse Marsch? You happy with things at the moment?
Oh, I don't think I can say I'm happy, but like everybody else, like everybody says, I know it's such an old, overspoken thing, but we are still all sort of reeling over Bielsa. But I think Jesse Marsch is really getting the short straw and carrying this kind of American tag around with him. I do think he'll be okay. I think we'll turn a corner. He's made some good signings. I don't know why we just can't be better defensively. The errors last night we made again, it's sort of everyone's looking at the 5-2, but we made some terrible defensive errors once again. And, on another day, we wouldn't have made it through. But I think Simon's potentially wrong about the whole he'll be got rid of. I think that if San Francisco 49ers are looking to take us over full on, which they are, that he's very much in there.
No, I don't think he'll be gotten rid of, Marie. I don't think he's going to be the outcome to give Leeds a success, which will then mean that he'll be gotten rid of. I don't think there's an agenda from me to suggest that he'll be gotten rid of. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he'll take you where I think Leeds United are capable of getting to.
No, I get that. I do get that. But I don't know. I think he might. I think he might surprise people. I still think he has that American lasso thing about him, that somewhere, if you look past that, there is huge potential there for him. He really does have, a great football in mind. He's done a lot of seminars, which are really cringy. But if you can get past that and you listen to, they're awful. But if you listen to them online, like the way he views football and the things that he says, because loads of people listen to him. I know, obviously, they're American, so it doesn't count that much. But they do, and he has a great vision. I just think he's struggling, really.
I think you're probably right, Marie, in some ways, but he needs to read the room to some extent of the country that he's in, the culture that he's amongst. When he starts talking about being on LinkedIn and finding an opportunity to learn from different professionals to bring into the sports world, he opens himself up to parody.
It's horrible.
Marie, I didn't think there was much wrong with that. But you pushed back at me that morning.
Well, I do, because I think it opens up the parody. I absolutely, I'm the greatest one to want to debunk myths and change the thinking of football from the antiquated, we don't do it this way, we'll do it that way sort of mentality. But there is a line between getting the balance wrong and getting the balance right. I don't think he's in Ted Lasso territory. I think that's moved on. I think we've moved past that. But I do think the histrionics on the sideline are a little bit more than I want to see from him. And some of the things that come out of his mouth, to me, put him in a position where people can point the finger at him saying, I'm not sure about you. And I might fall into that category. But I do believe that Leeds United, as a football club, is a great football club. Having bought teams there and seen the passion of that fan base, it still staggers me. They're out the Premier League for 17 years. And I think with Andrea's investment in the club and the development he's got to this point and a change of ownership, Leeds will really kick on. And I'm not sure he's the manager that will help them kick on.
Maybe scissors kick on, Marie. What do you make of young Wilfred Gnonto? He's something else, isn't he?
Oh, 4 million. I mean, look at Anthony last night and the kind of money they've paid for some of their players, and look what he's just he's so good. And his relationship with Somerville, they're very, very good friends, and they do a lot of, not like training, but they go to each other's houses. Obviously they've got big pitches in their gardens, and they just play all night together. And so I don't know, like a while back when they were first on, some of their link-up play together was just nuts. So when they play together and as relationships are formed, I think we have an exciting team. I think it'll be okay.
Marie, thank you so much for your time. Many Leeds fans go. We'll get one more on before we head to the break. Steve, good morning. What do you want to say in this? Do you think Jesse Marsch was right last night, Steve, post-match, after you progressed in the Cup, to push back in the media reports surrounding him and the pressure that's been building around him?
Well, I suppose so in a way, Jim, because internally it looks to me as though he's got the lads with him. Me personally, I was there. I just think we're a couple of players short. We're a really good centre half and a number 8 short of being a top 10 side. I do take Simon's point. Is he capable of getting us into the top 6 or 7? I'm not sure. But as a coach, I think he's fine. He's only had 2 transfer windows. And if you look at what Arteta's done, if we're a bit more patient, and Leeds fans tend not to be, I think he'll get us where we need to be.
Good call. I like what Steve, good call. It is about patience, Simon. But of course, in this environment, patience is thin in the ground, isn't it?
I just feel, and there is an element of what the callers are saying, and right, and I do understand the media side of things, because I rail against it, even though I sit in it. But I do think there's too much noise from him. There's not enough end product, too much noise. And that we seem to have a lot of noise from Jesse Marsch. And that might well be because of the size of the football club. It might well be because of the expectations of people like me saying Leeds are one step away from being a big football club again. But the background noise, not so much the background noise, the front of house noise from Jesse Marsch is just a little bit too much, because his achievements behind it aren't following suit with the rhetoric. So that's where I'm coming from. And I look at him and I think it's got nothing to do with the fact he's an American coach. It's got nothing to do with the fact that there's a Ted Lasso analogy that you can put alongside him. It's to do with the fact that I listen to him and I watch him and I think to myself, I'm not sure about you. There's something about you that gives me a feeling that you're a bit of a show pony, and you might have a lot of knowledge, but it might be in the territory of theory. But I made that observation about accusing Arteta at one point of being all theory and no content.
Sure. Steve, the Leeds fans saying, come on, we wouldn't mind seeing a couple of signings before January 31st. West Ham this morning have signed Danny Ings. They've agreed a deal with Aston Villa, so Ings heading to the London Stadium. Coming up to 10:30, a lot coming your way.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.